Alright, what's good YouTube? It's yugioh ASMR here, and welcome back to another competitive Yu-Gi-Oh video. So with Supreme Darkness right around the corner, and with YCS Orlando pretty much being here, it's time to talk about one of the most hyped decks in the upcoming format, which is projected to be a tier 1 deck, Crystron. This deck in Supreme Darkness has received some incredible legacy support, which has revitalized the deck's competitive viability, and today I'm going to be showing you a deck profile and at the end some basic combos so you can start getting familiar with what this deck does. If you're attending YCS Orlando or really just playing the upcoming format, you have to know what these cards do, even if you're not playing this deck, so I recommend watching this video or even just watching the combos at the end so you know what the deck's doing. I want to give a big shout out to Sam for helping me out with some of the combos and getting familiar with the deck. Big shout outs to him. And with that said, let's get into the deck profile and combo tutorial. If you want an in-depth, comprehensive Crystron guide and combo tutorial instead of having to pay for spreadsheets, please give this video a like. And if you guys show enough support, I will consider making an in-depth, comprehensive Crystron guide for the next video or two. So yeah, with that said, let's get into it. So here's the main deck. It's a 40 card main deck. Starting off with the new support we have is Crystron Tristaros. This card is insane. It's got a quick effect where if your opponent activates a card or effect, you can quick effect summon a Crystron from your deck, then immediately synchro summon. So this is what makes the deck really resilient to disruption and hand traps, because if your opponent tries to interact with you, then the Tristaros is going to summon from deck and synchro summon. So that's really really insane. And the strongest part is its graveyard effect, where you can banish it from the graveyard to destroy a synchro monster and then summon 2 Crystron monsters from your deck. And it doesn't even have to be of different names. So one Tristaros will convert into 3 bodies, which is insane. And this is a quick effect too, like Formula Synchron. It's able to synchro on your opponent's turn to access really powerful synchro toolbox monsters like Dawn Dragster. So this card is insane. Super, super, super strong. Next, we have a 1-card combo in the deck, which is Crystron Smyga. With the release of Clockwork Knight, this card becomes a 1-card combo, where it has the effect in the grave to banish itself to Rhoda for a Crystron spell or trap. So pretty good card. It's a full combo by itself. Instant 3 of, obviously. Next, we have the Solfenir, the Solfefnir. I only own 2 of these, so apologies for that. You'll see a proxy here. Fefnir is really good for a lot of the 2-card combos, and a lot of the time you'll simultaneously summon 2 of these off your Tristalos to access your powerful rank 5 machine toolbox with Cyber Dragon, Infinity, and Nova. And so this card's amazing. Nothing really much to be said here. It has the effect where in hand or graveyard you can summon itself and pop a card, and then it summons a Crystron from your deck in defense position. So really just high quality card in general, super good. By itself, it doesn't do anything, but if you draw it with like another Crystron, it becomes an insane combo. So yeah, really good card. Next, we have the Sulfador, which is a new card in the Supreme Darkness set. What I love about this deck is you can probably tell none of these cards are like hollows. They're all just super rares at the most. So this deck is really budget and really friendly. So if you're looking for a budget deck, this is for you. Sulfador is insane. It summons itself by popping a spell or trap, and then foolishes 2 Crystron cards from deck to grave. So yeah, a lot of the combos utilize this card, and this really brings the deck together to be able to use some of those combos. Here we have 1 copy of Vern. Vern has the effect to banish itself to be able to Rhoda for a Crystron monster, unlike Smyga, which searches spells or traps. So the Vern is really solid. Overall, really good card. Just a 1-of though. And here we have the Tortoise. So Crystron, the Tortoise, basically summons another Crystron from your hand and can summon 1 from your deck in defense position. Overall, really good by banishing itself. So just a high quality card, really good. It comes up a lot. And then the 1 proxy I have is the Crystron Citri. It's a level 2 tuner, which has the effect where on your opponent's turn can quick effect Reborn, a non-tuner, and then immediately synchro summon. So a lot of the 2-card combos, this is what allows you to access some really strong synchro toolbox cards in your extra deck. A lot of the time it's reborning the Crystron synchro monster, and with your Tristalos and this, you're able to make really powerful synchro monsters. So it comes up a lot in the 2-card combos, and it's a level 2 tuner, which is relevant in this deck. So this card's impossible to find because it only has 1 printing. Next, we have double copy of Title. Really good card to be able to just add consistency. This deck, all of the monsters are waters, so the Title just really helps to be able to gain that extra bit of consistency here, and sends a water monster from deck to grave. So obviously you can send your Smigers, you can send Tristalos, you can send anything that you're missing. So that is it for all the Crystron monsters and the engine there. Next, we have Crystron Inclusion. This card is really what makes the deck playable. When on activation, it rotors for a Crystron monster, so a lot of the time you are searching out your Crystron Sulfador, which you'll then summon by popping it. And this card is amazing. It's rotor, it stops your guys from being destroyed by battle once, and even better, has a graveyard effect to banish itself from the grave to reborn a Crystron from your grave, which is amazing. So just a high quality card. This is what makes the deck playable. And then we have the one Crystron Cluster. Fantastic card. It's a target pop by shuffling from your grave or banishment a Crystron card, and if you control a synchro, it pops too. So overall, really, really good. High quality disruption, helps you play around board breakers. For consistency, we're on one copy of Foolish Burial and one copy of Prosperity. Nothing much to be said here. Foolish Burial being able to dump anything that you're missing for extra consistency, like a Smiger or the Vern to be able to access monsters. This deck uses the graveyard a lot, so. And then at the moment, we're just on a couple copies of Crossout Designator and Call by the Grave just to be able to beat pesky hand traps. And then at this point, the last 15 cards can be sort of whatever non-engine you want to play here. Just take this with a grain of salt. I've just put 15 slots here where you can choose to play whatever sort of non-engine you want. You can even play board breakers. You can play anything. So just some hand traps. And that's the main deck. For the extra deck, we have 2 copies of the brand new Synchro Monster, Skeletus. This card's amazing. On summon, it adds 1 from grave back to the hand for follow-up. And then you can go ahead and special summon a Crystron monster from your banishment if this card's destroyed, which is really good and comes up in a ton of the combos. A Matrix, which is a great piece of utility to go ahead and out special summon monsters by booking them face down, and has a great floating effect. Good for utility. I'm not even going to pronounce this guy, but this guy is, you probably need to play 2 of him. The Quar, I'm not even going to try. I'm going to sound like DB Grind if I try to pronounce this name, and I'll butcher it. This guy is really important. Take a photo of him, look him up. He is really strong. He banishes 3. A lot of the time with your Citri and your Tristalos and the level 7 Synchro and other monsters, you're able to access this and quick effect summon this on your opponent's turn. And has 3k attack, it's a big body. Dawn Dragstar, which is really relevant. You summon this card a ton on your opponent's turn with Tristalos to be able to set up a spell trap negate, which is really solid. Dragon Mech, which is just a great piece of utility in this deck. You can target face-up cards your opponent controls up to the number of tuners in your graveyard and negate those effects. And then if this Synchro Summon card is destroyed by card effect and sent to the grave, you can target a tuner and add it to your hand. So, pretty good. One Legatia. This card just comes up randomly here and there. You're able to make it. Samurai Destroyer, which comes up for battle phase shenanigans. And one thing I will say is that this card is able to reborn from your graveyard a machine monster. So if that's pretty relevant as well. Sometimes in certain like anti-Nibiru lines, you're able to reborn stuff like Nova, and then you can still slap your Infinity on top of it, which is really good. And then we have all the best Omni Negates in the game. The Cyber Dragon package, super good. You summon this a ton in this deck. Nova is really good because we're able to play the Invoked Mechaba. So if this leaves the field somehow, you're able to summon out the Invoked Mechaba for a free negate. And it's a machine. So you can still summon this even though you may be machine locked. Infinity is just an insane card, obviously. They banned all the negates, so we had to go back to 2016. Star Slayer, nothing much to be said here. And for the newly released Clockwork Knight. So this card's really important in this deck. You don't really care about the effect that much, although it does come up in certain game states. For example, the effect to target a monster with 1,000 or less attack in the graveyard, tribute a monster, and then special summon the targeted monster. But really, this card's important for the Smyga 1-card combo, and just in general, being able to normal summon a Crystron, link it off into this, banish it, and play is really good. So this card is like Almirage or Linkaribo for this deck. 1-9 F Phoenix for the utility, and SP Little Knight, wrapping up the extra deck. So let's go ahead and start getting into a combo tutorial here. What can you do if you open a 1-card combo, for example, like Smyga? So we can start by normal summoning the Smyga, and now we'll immediately link it off into the newly released copy of Clockwork Knight. From here, we can activate the effect of Smyga in the grave to banish itself, and we can add from our deck to the hand a Crystron spell or trap. So we're going to add our Inclusion. So from here we can activate Inclusion, use the effect, search from our deck to the hand a Crystron monster, so we'll add our Sulfador. So from here we can activate Sulfador's effect in the hand, effect, special summon itself by destroying a Crystron spell or trap, so we're going to pop the Inclusion. And now we can trigger the effect of our Sulfador to send 2 Crystron cards from our deck to the grave. So here we're going to send the Cluster, as we'll add it back, and we will also send our Tristaros to the graveyard. At this point now, what we can go ahead and do is activate the effect of our Inclusion in the grave to banish itself from the graveyard to special summon a Tristaros from our graveyard. So now we have a level 2, level 5, we can now Synchro Summon into our Skeletus. So on summon, we can go Chainlink 1 Skeletus effect to add back a Crystron card from our graveyard. So we'll go ahead and add back that trap card so we can have an interruption on our opponent's turn. From here, we can use the effect of our Tristaros in the graveyard to summon itself by popping the Skeletus and summon 2 Crystron monsters from our deck. So we'll do that. Banish itself from the graveyard. Pop the Skeletus and summon 2 Crystron monsters from our deck. So we're going to summon 2 copies of Fafnir here. It doesn't have to be different names, it's so dumb. On resolution, Skeletus triggers. If it's destroyed by card effect, we can special summon one of our Crystron monsters right here from the banishment. So we're going to summon back the Tristaros to set up a synchro play on our opponent's turn here. And from here, we can overlay our 2 copies of Fafnir into Cyber Dragon Nova. And then from here, we can overlay the Cyber Dragon Nova straight into Cyber Dragon Infinity. And so this is our end board. Might not look like too much, but here's how it would essentially work. Let's say our opponent starts playing the game, they activate an effect. Immediately, we can activate the effect of Tristaros to special summon a Crystron monster from our deck. And then immediately we can then Synchro Summon. So here what we'll do is we can special summon, for example, our Tristaros, our Sulfador, and then we can Synchro Summon these straight into our FA Dawn Dragster to set up a Spell Trap Negate. Let's say they keep playing, we can activate our Cluster to target a card on the field and destroy it by shuffling back a Crystron card from our grave or banishment back into the deck. So we'll put our Sulfador to pop a card, and then obviously you have Cyber Dragon Infinity to negate a card. So for this next 1-card combo, let's show you what 1 copy of Crystron Inclusion can do. So we'll start by activating the Inclusion to search from our deck to the hand a Crystron monster. So we'll add, as always, the Sulfador. Now we can trigger Sulfador to summon itself by popping the Inclusion, and like last time, we'll use the effect to send 2 cards from our deck to the graveyard. So this time we're going to send a copy of Vern, and we'll send a copy of Fafnir. From here, we can use the effect of Vern's effect in the grave to banish itself to add from our deck to the hand a Crystron monster. So we will add, in this case, a copy of Smyga. Now we can activate the effect of Fafnir to summon itself from the graveyard and destroy a Crystron monster by sending 1 Crystron from our hand to the grave. So we're going to send the Smyga, and then we'll pop the Fafnir. On resolution, we can go Chainlink 1, Fafnir's effect. If it's destroyed, we can special summon a Crystron monster from our deck in defense position. So here is when we're going to summon out our Tristaros. Now we can go ahead and, as last time, use Smyga's effect to banish itself to add from our deck to the hand a Crystron spell or trap. So here we will add Cluster. From here, we can go ahead and synchro summon, like last time, into Skeletus. And we can trigger the effect to add back from our grave back to the hand. So in this case, we can just add back the Solfador for follow-up, which is pretty good. At this point, we can now use Tristaros' effect to banish itself from the graveyard to destroy the Skeletus and summon 2 Crystron monsters from our deck. So we'll do that. I'm just going to swap out the proxy right here, as I don't own this. So we can pop and summon out 2 copies of Fafnir from our deck. And on resolution, our Skeletus will trigger to special summon back the Tristalos from our banishment. And just like last time, now we can overlay these into our Cyber Dragon Nova, and then overlay these into our Cyber Dragon Infinity. So pretty much exactly the same as last time, except you get a bit of follow-up, which is cute. And just as last time, the same interruptions exist. If you guys want to see some of the more complicated, complex 2-card combos, which end on even stronger boards, be sure to give this video a like. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.